All right, welcome back for our week 6 feature matches here. We're continuing with a couple heavy hitters here with Evan C against Sawyer, who's Sawyer is currently in first place here. 19 wins. Just won a match to start the week up against Evan, who's very strong at 17 and 8 also. So both players are very high up in the rankings. What's going on with Sawyer's hand?
Oh, so we're looking at the Golgari deck with Starcrop Skirmisher, Archaeomancer, Gust of Wind, Basilica Screecher, and Pilgrim's Eye.
All right. Looks, I think Demir. Yeah, I think you said Golgari, but yeah,
Uh,
all good.
sorry. Also, we can see Sawyer looking up the opponent's pool.
Yeah, that is something you are very entitled and allowed to do here. Um, yeah, so Evan kept his hand with the what's the worst that could happen, and the worst that could happen is he didn't draw land for his Pilgrim's Eye. So he's stuck with not much to do here. He is playing a Boros deck this week. So he has a Martial Glory, the Pilgrim's Eye I mentioned, Chandra Flamecaller, the 6 mana one, Rimrock Knight, Fiendslayer Paladin, but no third land here. So, the third land gets the fourth land, gets the mountain. It's all contingent on casting a Pilgrim's Eye, which he was not able to do there.
Well, he has at least one Pilgrim's Eye.
Oh, Evan's probably jealous of that. Yeah, so as somebody who's been, oh, he's drawn a red card here, so not good for him. As somebody who's been playing a Demir based deck for the entirety of the format, I, at least the way that my deck is built, I don't know about Sawyer's, but like I'm happy to play against aggro decks with the way that my deck is kind of built. I think Demir just has a lot of good answers and ways to stabilize pretty cheaply. If Evans doesn't hit his land here, it doesn't really matter what kind of game plan Sawyer has. All right, so plays a Philagi, can go get a removal. Yeah, this is pretty much what he wants to be doing here.
Also, there are currently two Silumgar Sorcerer in hand, so yeah, resolving stuff on the board will get very hard,
Yeah, and
very
he's got
fast.
and he's got fodder here in play that he's happy to sacrifice. Yeah, so even if and when Evan is going to be able to cast spells, the good news for Evan is that there's no like threat here. I mean, like even this Aven Eternal, it's like it's another flyer in the air. So he does have an air attack now, so that is one thing. But
Well, that's 4 power in the air
yeah, I mean,
with
I did.
accidental drain.
I mean, I did say before he cast those, he doesn't have any threats going, but four in the air is a threat. So looks like Sora's just gonna attack for four every turn until Evan tells him he can't, and stop everything that Evan's gonna be trying to do.
Yeah, with two Silumgar Sorcerers, an Obnixilis Cruelty, and an ultimate prize, I don't think there is much Evan could draw that would get him out of this
All right.
pickle.
So we can just play Art Game then for the next 5 minutes, right? No.
You think this game's gonna take 5 minutes?
I spoke too
I'm on
soon.
the 2 minute side.
Yeah. Okay, I spoke too soon.
Well,
Yeah. Um, so 19. I'm just checking his land count here. He has 22 lands plus the two Sajiri shelter, so 24. So, um, yeah, that's pretty pretty normal amount for an aggro deck here. So he didn't skimp on lands here. He's got triple Pilgrim's Eye too, so it was really just an unfortunate draw. He had tons of things to do with his lands, and we did see Sawyer had a pretty slow start. Like he played like his first play was Pilgrim's Eye, and then he played the 2 drop with with Embalm. So like he didn't have anything crazy going. Evans did have potential, but again, obviously,
well,
not too much to say
the
about that.
the ultimate card in Sawyer's repertoire is probably the Etherling, which
Yeah,
closed out a lot of games this league, I imagine.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Etherling. My only time I faced off against an Etherling, I was just able to tap it every turn with a Niblos of Frost and win the game. But luckily, I have not come up against Etherling very much because that card would be very unpleasant.
Yeah, hard to get around.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to set up the game to a point where you can, stable cast it in a stable game state, but it will win the game very fast. So, and there are extremely limited answers.
Yeah, I mean you basically need two instance removal spells
Yeah,
when your opponent's only holding up one mana.
yeah, it's a problem, but I mean, he didn't need it. Obviously, didn't need to get to that state in that game. Is he doing
Yeah.
some sideboarding here? Evan didn't. Maybe,
So
maybe I think he
basically,
maybe sided one card in, but he didn't really think too much about it.
basically we constructed Evan's deck out of his pool, and now we're looking at cards that we could board into against the potential deck.
And that's why,
Sawyer thinks Evan's playing.
and that's why he's in first place. Because he takes the time to construct what he thinks his opponent is playing and find the correct cards to bring it against it. So you put in the time, you put in the effort. It is a lot of time and effort, but you know the results speak for
Seems to
themselves.
pay off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, I tried it. I tried it from time to time, but sadly, I'm not that blessed with my analytical genius, it seems.
Yeah, once in a while I'll open up the pool when I'm like looking for something specific, like a board wipe. Like if my opponent has played weird for a couple turns, like maybe chump blocked, didn't play a creature, didn't play an instant, like just literally like played nothing for a turn. I'll start poking around, see if there's a board wipe or something. Or in the last league when we went to call time for a week and people were foretelling cards, I was like, okay, there's only going to be like two foretell cards in their pool, so yeah, I could go figure it out. And one
Yeah.
time I figured out it was the Doomscar, the board wipe, and correctly did not overextend into it. So, I dabble very occasionally in the, not very occasionally in the checking of pools, but yeah, there are some people who do it frequently, and like I said, it works, right? Like
Yeah.
it absolutely works. So, did he end up doing a lot of sideboarding here, or just
Uh,
some deck
three,
recreation?
two cards out, two cards in, but nothing major.
Okay, so
Ooh, what, what do my eyes spy here? I see a Cody in hand for Sawyer.
oh, that's funky. Yeah, so Evan, I mean, he does have his lands here, but this is he's his hand is extremely reactive. What,
We're keeping a two-lander.
what was the oops from?
Probably by from keeping two lands,
Oh,
but he's typing something.
huh.
Oh, code is not allowed because it's
Oh, right. He can't
color
play that.
identity
Oh, we need to.
is
Is this
five
going to
colors,
be?
yeah.
I assume it's going to be a game loss unless Evans going to like. I mean, when we come to rules and fractions here, I mean, it's if the players can resolve it amicably, then that's for the best. I mean, in theory, he could this could be reported for a game loss, I suppose. But
I mean, there are currently two committee members in here, so
yeah,
we could get an express ruling if there's need for it.
I mean, Evans offering to just uh, restart with basically no penalties or whatever. I think he just said, we'll just continue here. It'll just be like a dead card in hand, I suppose. But I imagine like if you're treating it as a dead card, like almost like a mulligan, you like he couldn't discard it either, right? He just like is just sort of just like dead. No, basically you have to go on good
I
faith
mean,
here.
let's see if he discards it with the Tom Bond. Literally, he drew for turn.
So we have an extremely reactive keep here from Evan. He kept Wild Slash, Stasis Snare, and lands, which
Well,
is
White Slash can go face, you know?
yeah. It's like if you're facing like if you're in an aggro mirror, this is a great hand. If you're against Sawyer, this is like not super ideal. Like you want the threats, you don't really want to be all answers. He has in the interim drawn an Ardenvale Tactician and a Knight of the White Orchid. I feel like if he discards the Cody here, I'd be pretty annoyed if I was Evan that he just got to get out of his hand for free.
Well,
I don't know.
you see it happen.
I yeah, I feel like he just got to get away with it like too
With
easily
murder.
here. Yeah, like
The poor book didn't do nothing wrong.
yeah. I think looks like Evan's like I said going to be a good sport about it here. You know, I would if it was me, I would probably just ask him to like not like just have it be like a dead card in hand, like not discard it or whatever. But
Or
basically,
restart
so it's
game
like
over.
effectively like a
Yeah.
mulligan more or less. But here he basically he told his opponent. His opponent said, "Okay, we'll continue," and then he dropped it out of his hand, and they continued on as if nothing ever happened.
Ah, yes, the bane of every Magic player. The counter spell unless you pay one. Or in this case, Javari
Yeah,
Disruption. Well, it's a bit different from Heuristic Study and asking do you pay the one, but still very annoying.
well, usually you cast it when your opponent doesn't have the one. That's, I think, the point of
Yeah,
the card.
typically, but there are certainly cases where you just want them to tap out.
Yeah, I really appreciate the designs of those modal double face cards, particularly the first ones from Zendikar Rising. The ones from MH3 were okay too, but probably like a little more pushed. A lot of them, but
Yeah.
like I really like how the more narrow the effect of the front side, like the better the card it was, because it's just like you would never play one in a blue counter spell unless they pay one, like ever. You would never put that in the deck.
Mm.
But when you get somebody, it's so backbreaking, especially in the early game.
Yeah.
Um, that's why like ones like like the one that was like a mana dork on the backside or the
Yes.
front side. I was like, whatever. Like I'm playing it as a mana dork like every time pretty much. But like
The Tangled Florahedron.
yeah, the one that was like an act of treason, like that's a card I hate. But like when the flip side of it is I could just play it as a land and not have to deal with it. It was so great.
I
Anyway,
think that was Mad Song Treachery.
yeah. So Evan, I think, is just
Yeah.
going to. He has the stasis snare here for this murmuring mystic. Even attacking doesn't like he has a wild slash, but that doesn't even get through this 1/5. Like I thought he might have. Yeah,
I mean, maybe
he's gonna give Sawyer a turn with the murmuring mystic, which is very, very dangerous potentially.
currently in hand, Chaomancer, Soul Transfer, Archaeologist, and the last card is currently hidden behind the yeah, as mentioned, the Jawari Disruption.
Yeah, the
So,
disruption. Okay, I
ooh, and there comes the finisher, Etherling
okay.
from
Well,
Tom of the Deck.
he's gonna need to hit his land drops in order to get that done. But this
I think
Tomebound Lich,
he manages with the Lich, yeah.
yeah. So he's gonna wild slash here.
Well, and it can't be countered with the Jawari Disruption,
No, it
since he has
sure
still
can't.
planes,
Yeah, so it just happens. So
so no loot.
yeah, that's a good one to get rid of. Now I'd have to think he wants to just get rid of this the Murmuring Mist. Like when I see that card, especially if I'm like playing 2 power aggressive creatures, like I need that card gone because it blocks and it makes an army.
Also, the army is flying, so kind of hard to deal with.
Oh, he's gonna go looking for a lesson here. Let's see what he pulls from his bag of tricks.
Well, we have the option of elemental summoning, the spirit summons, reduced to ashes, introduction to prophecy, and the last one is, I think, mercurial transformation.
Well, he's not allowed to get a one that goes off his color identity. I think we had established
Yeah,
that. So
that's
he
true.
could not have picked up like the blue red one or any other off color.
So he's basically getting the expensive Ponder.
Yeah, so
No,
it's
not Ponder, Preordain.
yeah, so it's not quite the mascot exhibition that was cast against me
Yeah,
last
no,
week by one of my opponents.
not quite. Was it Adam?
No, it was Nick S.
So- Someone else got the mascot
I
exhibition. Wow.
mean, I assume he had it in his pool legally. I don't think he
Did you
made it
check?
up.
Did you check?
No, but yeah, I did have the displeasure of seeing that. As imagined, Evan is taking away the mystic here. It's too hard
Interesting.
to handle.
Attack him with the mental. Okay, he
Yeah,
did
so
pull it back.
he has Rimrock Knight and Wild Slash here as or one of them as tricks, and he said, "I don't want to do any of this. The O
I
three
mean,
gets walled off. The O3 walls off the 2/2. The mentor can trade for the embalmed creature. Like it's all bad."
attacking with the knight and getting rid of the O3 by just using the Rimrock Knight seems okay.
Yeah, especially when your opponent's tapped out, it's like pretty okay to do that. Evan is telling us patience is a virtue, and then put a question mark.
Well,
He wrote patience is a virtue question mark. So he's
let's see how patient he's gonna get with this gust of wind.
he's questioning. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. He's questioning whether he should be a bit more assertive here. And I mean, seeing what Sawyer is playing, you have to try and be assertive, but Sawyer's just got a board set up to be able to block.
I think the train is slowly leaving the station, and with
Yeah,
it, the chances of winning get smaller and smaller.
yeah, and with that Etherling in hand, it's just gonna be a matter of time. Two on the top, yeah, you have to be terrified if you're Evan seeing your opponent go two on the top.
There was a swamp and a tomb-bound lich,
Yeah, I mean, land a land is good. Seventh land, very important for Etherling. Despite being a six
especially
drop,
for Ifrit.
it's really a seven drop, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing it right, it's 7 drop.
So what's being decided here? He's deciding if he wants to attack with his 1/1 flyer. Yeah.
Oh, he's
Okay.
yeah, I guess so.
Well, he doesn't have blocks in the air, so might as well. Draconic Roar here, just not the right selection of cards here to deal with the threats. So he can do Pilgrim's Eye, and then he can stasis snare this Mystic again. Yeah, like Gust of Wind on the stasis snare, like it didn't do too much. It made like another 1/1 flyer, but it set back Evan like just enough. So the post combat haste creature here coming down. He's going to draw a card, and it does not find him another land to play the stasis snare. So if he wanted to be a bit safer that turn, he could have played his Pilgrim's Eye and gotten the land, so he could guarantee the stasis snare. But he went for a little more, put a better creature into play, but not guarantee a land. So yeah, just things aren't lining up as he was envisioning. I don't think here. I think Sawyer's deciding if it's time to drop the drop the bomb. Yeah, he said, "I'm dropping the bomb. I don't think you got two answers. One of them instant speed."
Yeah,
he
it's gonna
said,
be a tough one.
I see one answer in hand, but I don't see two." Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, like when I saw Etherling was in the set, I was like, is that still going to be good? But it's like most of these cards are from the same era, so it's like it's obviously like still insanely strong.
I think Etherlink can even win games today in modern limited.
Yeah, it's more likely that somebody might have like two good removals the turn it comes down, just because the removal's so strong nowadays. But yeah, it's tough.
I mean, we're still running around with murder, literally.
Yeah, well
So
we got a strictly better murder coming up in the new set that
yeah, that's true.
hits vehicles now. Yeah, so he's gonna cast his Rimrock Knight, get the Etherling to get exiled, but
But in the end, all this worked just for for 2 points of damage
yeah,
and
just
dry.
like the hoops you have to jump through for so little results against an Etherling. It's just extremely frustrating. Though I did have an opponent one time in a draft who decided to make their Etherling a 9-0, and I was very thankful
Mm,
for that.
yeah,
it just it just fell off the face of the earth.
that's weird, huh?
They just kept clicking. They said the elevator only goes up on power.
Basically, like the Daft Punk, and they were saying one more time.
Yeah. Um, I assume he's going to try and close the game out in two turns here. Oh, Evan's thinking about wild slashing the other bird, I assume. The thing about Etherling is it basically has like vigilance too, right? Like if you want it to.
Yeah, kinda.
It's so frustrating. Yeah, so Sawyer's just pretty much enacting his game plan to a T, more or less, right? Like in the first game, there wasn't much to see with Evan not hitting the lands, but we do see a little bit more of what Sawyer's deck's all about. And yeah, stabilize the board early, which he did. He was never under like a huge uh, panic of a threat, and yeah, win with an Etherling. Might see. Evan's drawn a land here. He does have a lot of cards in hand, so he has quite a lot of options. Just none of them are going to be extraordinarily effective here. So he can like quote unquote like fog the Etherling for a turn with the stasis snare.
Yeah, but that's not a winning
Yeah,
comment. That's not a winning path.
looks like he is going to cast a stasis snare, or he's dragged it up on top of his hand here to maybe cast it now.
I mean, that's certainly not the position you want to find yourself in as a Boros deck with 7 lands and behind on board.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially if you have 7 cards in hand, then you know something went wrong. When the controlling opponent has less cards in hand than you as the aggro deck.
yeah. Well, I mean, Sawyer just played his cards out in a coherent order, and Evan didn't get to do that as much. Like he missed the land there that turn where he drew a card with the mentor and would have needed to hit a land there to play a stasis snare. Okay, he's gonna send a draconic roar at the tomebound lich.
Makes sense. Getting rid of the Death Toucher.
Yeah, I mean he does have Rimrock Knight, Wild Slash to like try and
Yeah, but
get extra damage if opponent doesn't block, but opponent is blocking, so
how will he survive the swing back?
uh,
Especially with evening out.
one thing at a time. He's
Uh-huh.
he won't basically. Well, like I said, he has the stasis snare base as fog for a turn.
Well, fogging one creature at best.
Well, it's the fog that stops like lots and lots of damage. So yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
so I think Sawyer basically knows what's up here. He knows he's getting his Etherling. stasis snared, so we'll see if he wants to pump power into it or if he wants to use his mana on other things. What does he have left in hand still?
Soul Transfer, Basilica's Creature, and an ultimate price.
Well, that is not good for Evan. Yeah. So as suspected, he's going to fire this off, and Sawyer is going to protect his Etherling here, as you do.
I mean, theoretically, they could have played the game of chicken here, but I think both players are too smart
Yeah.
to.
I mean, if Sawyer had less going on board, this like fogging it for a turn could be a winning strategy. But like he has a 1/5 on board, he has a 2/1 that becomes another creature. He's got a Sajiri shelter here. But unfortunately, there are a variety of colors among Sawyer's creatures, so you can't just give a creature unblockable and pump it.
Also, there's an ultimate price which can deal with the Unveil Tactician.
Yeah,
If it wasn't already blocked by the Basilica's Creature anyway.
yeah. So it's just like when you're the aggro player, it just feels so. You just feel so crushed. You're trying to find the right series of plays here to like possibly make it out alive.
I mean, that's an annoying card to deal with as a control player.
Sure is. Makes sense. Well, he's just going to fire off the price now, and now Evan can use the Sajiri shelter, but it's just not going to be enough damage here.
No, not really.
Like he can.
Especially since he would have loved to put the shelter on the 10th District Legionnaire.
So that's 2 damage. He can do 4 damage with a Rimrock, and then 2 damage to opponent with a Wild Slash. That's what that's what he's looking at here. But the opponent's at 10, so
And has lots of blockers.
yeah, the Ardenvale gets through, but nothing else really does.
No, not really. I mean, the Legionnaire will just be jump blocked by the Pest, I think. Or even the Etheling and then just flicker
Yeah.
the Etheling.
No, he said I'd rather not put my Etherling in harm's way.
I mean, it seems you're a bit ahead of me, but I put it up to Sawyer's stream being a bit choppy.
Oh, okay. He is looking like he's blocking with the pest, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable.
So in
Basically
it's
losing only one life.
yeah, so interestingly enough, Evan does have this Wild Slash, which if Sawyer goes too far on the power pump on Etherling, the Wild Slash can fog it. So Sawyer may pump it to 6, but not 7 power to not get
Ooh.
killed by a Wild Slash.
Well, if he just threw Kotosa, the Silent Spider, basically
Oh
the
boy,
card that allows you to steal
yeah.
from your opponent's graveyard.
He also just has a lethal attack
Okay.
here with all the flyers, and any spell has is an extra extort. So it's you know it's all done here. So Sawyer is continuing in first place here with 20 wins. So he's
I think
gonna
that
be
locks him in.
pretty much locked. So congratulations to Sawyer on the win and a most assuredly appearance in the top 8. And we'll be back in a little while for our last match of the week.